It's morning in London. For most people, an alarm clock is about to go off. But the Queen can't hit the snooze button on hers. The Queen's personal bagpiper signals the start of a typical workday for someone with an atypical job.
What is a conundrum to an awful lot of British people, never mind anybody else, is what the monarchy is actually for, what it does.
It may seem she spends the day perfecting her wave, but she's actually a hands-on monarch who knows what's going on.
Wherever she is in the world, on every day of the year except for Christmas Day, she'll get a knock on the door and someone will hand her this rather battered old red case. In that will be great piles of paper, and she has to go through it. She has to sign some documents, read other things, and by the next morning it will all be done and it'll be handed back to a footman who'll take it back to the private secretary.
Once a year, the Queen opens Parliament.
My Lords and members of the House of Commons.
And once a week, she powwows with the Prime Minister. These days, it's Tuesday at 7 for about an hour.
They talk about everything that's going on. Prime Minister brings her up to date, gives a gossip, perhaps, of what's going on in the political parties.
For a new Prime Minister, meeting the head of state can be intimidating.
Funny, I'm actually rather nervous.
As seen here in the film, The Queen. It's an appointment the Queen has been keeping for 60 years.
You obviously know my job better than I do.
Yes, well, you are my 10th Prime Minister, Mr. Blair.
Since the movie was released back in 2006, the Queen has added 2 more Prime Ministers. But because there's no written records kept, only they know what's been said behind closed doors.
David Cameron, the current British Prime Minister, has said that she asks excellent questions that really makes you think about the way you're doing things. Nothing is going to get past her. Don't even try to bluff her or pull the wool over her eyes because she'll see it a mile off.
Though that weekly meeting doesn't set policy, it is very reassuring to many of her subjects.
Why on earth do we all kind of defer and bow and scrape to this perfectly ordinary family, German family basically, who live in a big house in the middle of London? Well, obviously there's a reason for it, and the reason for it is that the alternatives are just too ghastly. I don't want any of our Prime Ministers to be head of state. So I think we're quite lucky to have a royal family because at least, you know, they have to behave well.
Her teacher and guide was the man known as the British Bulldog, Sir Winston Churchill.
This grand old wise old man who'd seen her playing as a little girl, watched her growing up really. And he loved this sort of idea that he was protecting this young monarch in the early days of her reign. He was absolutely devoted to her. It's often said the Queen does not refer to any of her politicians by their first name, but there is one exception. She just refers to Winston.
The longer that the Queen has been on the throne, the more experience she's had, the more she can probably offer. She can say to David Cameron or to Tony Blair, "Oh, well, that's very interesting. I remember Winston had a problem like that back in the early 50s, and this is how he resolved it."
When she became Queen, she also became commander of the British Armed Forces, a job not to be taken lightly.
The Queen of all people understands that if you're going to put your life on the line, the least you can expect is to be looked after and cared for by your country, and in the sovereign and the royal family, hopefully we try and show that appreciation.
To serve her public, she must be seen in public, a lot. State dinners, foreign tours, Commonwealth meetings.
The Queen isn't just Queen of Britain, she's Queen of 15 other countries as well. She's Queen of actually a large part of the Earth's surface.
As head of the Commonwealth, she's actually a unifying force to 54 countries. That's 1/3 of the world's population. There's also 620 charities to support, people tonight, and awards to hand out. She does 400 events every year, and there are only 365 days in the year. Are you surprised how active she continues to be?
It's amazing when you look at it like that, isn't it, those statistics? Yes, it is.
Do you ever feel like saying, "Your Majesty, take it easy"?
I don't know. I feel tired, but she doesn't look tired.
It can be an endless round of predictable sometimes even monotonous meet and greets.
She's seen it all. There's nothing that surprises her anymore. And I think between her and my grandfather, the two of them long for things to go wrong every time they go to official occasions, because they've seen it all and they want something new to happen. They want something spontaneous to sort of occur, just for the amusement of themselves.
I understand that the Queen actually enjoys when something goes a bit awry. Is that true?
I think that's true for most members of the royal family, actually. I think providing it isn't something that is earth-shattering or really, something that's important that goes wrong, but a little thing that goes wrong behind the scenes, I think, is quite funny at times.
Minor mishap or not, nothing is old hat to those on the receiving end.
She shows up, she smiles, and you think, well, what's the point of that? But here's the thing, if you're the nurse or the teacher or the kid or whatever it is, and the Queen's come to visit and you've seen her, that's an event for you. And that gives you a connection to something which is uniquely British.
For those people who are being visited and, if you like, having that royal light shone upon them, it's a very big deal. They will remember that for the rest of their lives.
She has that amazing ability to make anyone relax. And that's a skill in itself, and she's very good at it.
She's also good at giving the country a sense of calm and continuity.
We're able to look at the Queen and see all the things that she's lived through and adapted to, and I think, yes, having her as a figurehead absolutely gives the country a sense of stability and comfort and joy, I think.
Her private secretary for a long time, right at the beginning when she became Queen, said it's your job is to spread a carpet of happiness. She's done everything and more that could possibly have been expected of her, and remained amusing and lively and out walking us all. Unstoppable.
If you want to talk brand, okay, America's got Apple, but we've got the Queen. I know who I'd rather have.